G.
L.
Lesbian.
I'm rated G.
I am in the gay column. I identify as a gay man.
Definitely gay, definitely queer. I am a cisgendered gay man.
I identify as a lesbian. I have always identified as a lesbian.
I'm a gay man.
I'm the plus in LGBTQ+.
I was born gay, but I didn't know what that was until I was 27, because I was raised in a religious bubble.
It wasn't like I was just automatically knew I was gay or I was a lesbian. I think I ran the gamut. I dated men, dated women, dated both. And then I think when I got into my 30s, when I started feeling really comfortable with being a gay female.
I remember my mother being called into my kindergarten teacher's room, being told that her son was, not playing on the boy side of the room with the cars and the trucks. And my mother basically said, I pay taxes in this county and he can play on whichever side of the room that he wanted to play on.
My earliest memories is me saying, Mommy, I'm a boy. Why are you putting me in this, right? Why do I have to play Minnie Mouse in the school play? I'm a Mickey, and these are things like young children. We now understand through the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, gender identity and sexual orientation are things that you come kind of preloaded with. So when people say to me, when did you transition? I'm like, it wasn't a one-time thing. I'm transitioning all the time, and so are you.
It was Lutheran theology, my seminary theology classes, that helped me to let grace happen in my own life and accept myself for who God created me to be.
Well, I actually had a partner starting at the age of 18, but very much in the closet. I was a television actor doing 3 series in a row, and there was a deep threat in those days if you were out to your career. It was not easy to come out, but it was safer in many ways. So I started out just by telling my sister, but I didn't tell my parents until I was 40.
40 years ago, talking about being gay, being out and openly gay was certainly not as prevalent as it is, today.
I came out to myself sort of during college. I came out to my family in June of '73. Yeah, and then my parents didn't let me home for 6 years. I didn't go home for 6 years after that.
It took me a long time to kind of reach the point where I was ready. And, some people are ready when they're, in middle school or high school. And then, for me, it took a lot more time. It was not until my late 20s, probably like mid to late 20s, that I told the first people, and really didn't come out until, to most people, until my early 30s. I think I was 32.
I'm actually the only boy in an Italian Catholic family, so there are expectations there, right, about carrying on the family name, about marrying, about having children, about all those things that you are supposed to do. Ironically, when I came out, my family was wonderful. I mean, they couldn't have been more embracing, and I thought, I've wasted several years worrying about how they were going to react, and they couldn't have been more loving and supportive.
Just coming out as like a gay teenager, as a gay man, was not really something that I would lead conversations with. It wasn't like a big part of my everyday life. Because a lot of my really close friends just knew already, a lot of my brothers, my sister, my mom. The first time I ever thought about drag and started going out and just having the courage to just do it, the response I would get from them was so much different than just the response I got from coming out of the closet or telling people that I'm gay. It was much more of wow, you're really good at this and we want to see more of it.
Santa Monica is an interesting community about LGBTQ people. There were always, when I came back from law school, there were so many lesbians engaged in social justice issues, engaged in civil rights issues and leading them. So many lesbians involved in the founding of the battered women's shelter that the police sometimes didn't want to help us because we were all lesbians. But in those days, we weren't the LGBTQ community. There was the women's community and the men's community, and we weren't even going to the same bars, really.
When I ran, I fully expected that I would be attacked. And I asked somebody in the opposition, not the right-wing opposition, but regular opposition, why I hadn't been attacked. This was after the campaign was over and I had won. And he said it would have been wrong.
The idea of change is a really good idea. And I think Santa Monica has changed a lot in the last 20 years. You go outside of the promenade, you go to restaurants, you go to the movies, you go out to business centers, and there's people from every creed, every walk of life nowadays.
Coming to Santa Monica and being in the city and realizing that the city is very open, very accepting, that allowed me to be my true self. And I felt much more comfortable telling people that I was gay or that I was a lesbian, much more comfortable sharing that at work, sharing that within the community, because the community was really accepting here.
I don't experience a lot of barriers, and that's across the board. Doctors and dentists and gyms and whatever it is. My experience is people are very welcoming. I think that's one of the real hallmarks of Santa Monica is being that sort of inclusive and welcoming community.
For Santa Monica, which is a world-class tourist destination, is a progressive city in so many ways and has been a leader on so many issues, to I think step out and demonstrate that this is a part of the community that's here and should be welcomed and celebrated, and people within that community to be able to celebrate as well. I think that sends a powerful statement to not only the rest of the community, but the rest of the region about the importance of LGBTQ folks in terms of the contributions that we are collectively making to this community.
We didn't just do an event that then the next year would grow and the next year would go. We're doing the whole thing. And it's quite wonderful.
Well, I think that any government has a responsibility to protect people against discrimination. We want to make absolutely certain that there's no sort of hidden discrimination based on sexual orientation. And I think the city has always stepped up, and certainly the county as well.
The public perception in California has shifted so much, and a lot of that is because of visibility, because of people meeting friends, colleagues, neighbors, and saying, oh, there are LGBT people all around me, and I need to rethink my perceptions and my prejudices. And so I think that's a continuing evolution. We need to be very clear about who we are and that we're part of the community and that we make the community a better place. And that, to me, is probably the most important thing we can do.
A little bit of rainbow goes a long way. And wherever you are, if it's a business, if it's a school, if it's a classroom, if it's a community of faith, let the world know, let the LGBTQ community know that they're welcome. And that's a great place to start.
Coming out is always going to be probably one of the most difficult things you can do as a gay person. You risk everything for the sake of being yourself.
Everybody's got their own pace of coming out, and I think people should take their time as is appropriate.
I would say this especially to our trans brothers and sisters. There is a community, and that was the most surprising thing to me, is you think when you come out of the closet you'll be all by yourself. But there's a whole group of people out there going, come on out. We're here too.
It's okay to demand the right to be who you are.
It freed me up. It didn't matter that my parents had their own homophobia they had to deal with, their own closet they had to deal with, right? It's the first step to freedom.
Finding your true self, I think, is a huge part of what this crazy life is all about. And even though people want to take it so seriously, just take finding yourself seriously.
You know, grow and get some knowledge of your own sense of your own sexuality, your own self-being, your own self-worth. And just know that you're enough when you look yourself in the mirror.
You really are a gift to this planet, and there's just, life is so precious.